Kiyoshi 死ねばいいのに。嘘。Kiyoshi 大好き。
Hello, welcome back. If this is your first time watching, welcome in general. Today I want to talk about the Japanese train system. Now everyone and their mothers talk about how awesome the Japanese train system is. I'm sure there's someone's mother on YouTube talking about it. There's a lot of people here. And make no bones about it, it is one of the most incredible train systems you're likely to ever encounter, despite the map of it looking like a plate of spaghetti. Seriously, you're going to be navigating your way through pasta. But rarely do you ever see anybody complaining about it, until now. Maybe. There could be a lot of people complaining about it, but in my 10 seconds of research on YouTube, I didn't find anything. Whatever, I'm going to talk about people's cons about the Japanese train system, and you're going to listen. Maybe. This is YouTube after all, and you could click off if you wanted to at any time. But please don't. I polled about 8 of my friends, all of who currently reside in or have visited Japan very many times, and I asked them the pros and cons about riding on Japanese trains. If you're visiting Japan, Tokyo in particular, anytime soon, or in the near future, or anytime ever, you're going to want to know what you're getting yourself into when riding on Japanese trains. Today we're going to focus on the 3 worst things about riding in trains in Tokyo. Now, depending on what time of day you ride, it is often compared to being inside of a can of sardines, and for very good reason. I've never heard them directly compared to sardines, but it seemed like a good segue. Japanese people aren't really known for smelling bad, particularly. Japanese guys smell okay, the kids smell okay. I myself tend to think that Japanese women smell pretty good. Kind of like flowers. Creeper. Now when people get older, we tend to emit a particular odor, thanks to chemical changes in our bodies. In Japan it's called kareishu. It's an oft talked about thing in Japan, in their culture. In our culture we don't really mention it outside of our grandparents' houses smelling weird because of it. But in Japan, they talk about it a lot. I'm always watching Japanese variety shows, and the comedians talk about it a lot.
カレー臭というさ家具何お前もうスタンバイしてんだよどうだろう俺自分でわかんねえんだよねスタンバイすんな
They say the smell originates from behind the ear.
ここが一番やっぱ出んのようわこれ
Anyway, old Japanese dudes could take steps to try and hide this odor, perfumes, deodorants, brushing twice, but for whatever reason, I guess they don't give a crap, and they do it to punish the youth of Japan, which they resent for taking over with their fashion and cuteness and rock and roll or something. And they punish them by making them stand directly next to them on the trains and forcing them to smell their horrible old man body smell and nasty old saliva breath. But outside of old man and the odd otaku, see what I did there? Odd meaning occasional and strange. The people generally don't smell bad. And believe you me, if you're going to be riding on Japanese trains, you're going to have plenty of opportunity to test this theory. Because... Now, when you think of Japanese trains, you probably think of people with blank expressions being smashed into a train car by some train conductor during the morning rush hour. I haven't personally experienced being crushed into a train by a conductor yet. It's one of my hopes in life. But I have experienced my body being crushed and contorted into different shapes, while I wonder if this will be my last day on Earth while being crushed by a wall of Japanese people if the train driver suddenly brakes. This is a real fear. Also exists is the fear that you won't be able to squeeze through the mass of people as your stop comes up. Now, I have a fear of standing out and being noticed by people. Then why are you on YouTube? So calling out, suimasen, 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 creates a real possibility of everybody staring at you and looking at you and saying, who's that weird gaijin trying to get through all of us? If you have a similar fear, you might want to take that into consideration. Now, when I'm in the middle of all that, I can't wait to escape. But when I'm away from it, when I come back to America, I strangely miss being crushed by all those people. There's something about being wedged between all those people that's strangely comforting. Like being inside of a warm blanket made of humanity. And if you're tired, you can rest your head on a strange salaryman's shoulder if you can muster the smell. They won't even notice it. Trust me. Strange creeper. But on top of that, when you get off, everybody has to get off themselves and then pack themselves back in when you get off. It's a real hassle. It's a weird situation if you're not used to it. And if it's crowded, you gotta ride with your hands above your head the whole time because... The doors on the right side will open. Women have it hard enough trying to navigate through this world while trying not to be inappropriately felt on while doing simple things like shop, listen to audiobooks, drink water, walk, breathe, read actual books, watch TV, talk with their friends, watch movies, handshake, drink coffee, live. So in a patriarchal society like Japan, you toss them into a train full of men, and there's gonna be some hardcore groping going on. In Japanese, a molester is called chikan. Chikan. And that can be used as both a noun and a verb. Noun. Chikanda! Chikan! 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 Verb. ねえ、痴漢されるってことある？痴漢されるってことないんだけど。Now, I don't think it's as much of a problem as it used to be with the introduction of women-only trains. Don't quote me on that. It's not an enforced law. I think it works on some kind of honor system. So, good luck. But the fact that there needs to be a women-only train proves that there definitely is a problem. I myself encountered a man on a train trying to do this once. Next to me was an old guy trying to pretend like he was drunk. I guess he was really drunk. And he was pretending like he was sleeping while hanging off of the strap. He stood there with his hand kind of hooked outward. He didn't actively grope. He seemed like he wanted women to wander over to his hooked hand. And it worked. Women wandered over to his hooked hand. Now, me being the coward that I am, didn't immediately speak out for fear of standing out. But I did what I could, sort of try to wedge myself in between the woman and the man. As I did that, though, I noticed that my crotch had to briefly rub against their backsides, potentially creating an even more awkward situation. But it worked. And the guy got off a couple of stops later. Now he's back on the streets, able to freely grope as he pleases.
All because of you.
Now, men being groped on trains isn't necessarily unheard of. I myself had a young Japanese male friend tell me that he was cornered and groped on a train once. And my immediate response was she cute? He said she was an obasan or older. And I still asked him, was she attractive?
Lonely creeper.
But still, stories of men being groped on trains is extremely rare, if not non-existent. That was probably the only case. This came up a lot, exclusively from women. Apparently Japanese men don't give up their seats for people who need it more, like pregnant women or elderly people. Indeed, they rush to an open seat, knocking over some hapless woman on their rush to rest their weary man feet. I didn't really notice it, but I'm not the recipient of that kind of behavior, an unfortunate product of a patriarchal society. Women get far less respect. I come from a place where you can ride the buses and trains for $1.75 for 2 hours. But otherwise you might be surprised by how much traveling all day can cost you. The good news is if you're a traveler, you'll be able to purchase a rail pass before you come. That's around $200 for unlimited travel on certain train lines and Shinkansens. That's a steal. You know that scene in Lost in Translation where Scarlett Johansson looks at that guy reading that erotic manga? Apparently that happens, and it really bothers a friend of mine. I've never done that myself, so I really wouldn't know anything about that.
Lying creeper.
Again, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye! I have compared them with my own Japanese feelings. I didn't really notice it, but I'm not the recipient of that kind of behavior. An unfortunate product of a patriarchal society. Patriarchal? Patriarchal. But today we're going to focus on the 3 worst things about riding in trains on Tokyo. But I have experienced my body being crushed and contorted into different shapes while people come on me and... Hey, I just wanted to mention my books really quickly. It's October, which means it's Halloween time! And I have 2 books on Amazon that would be perfect for this season. This one is called The Deceased Miss Blackwell and Her Not-So-Imaginary Friends. And it's about a boy who finds a book of the occult and resurrects a Victorian-era zombie girl. And they accidentally summon her imaginary friends the night before Halloween. It's great for the family, and it's very cheap. Also, my other book, The Death of Death, is still free! It's about a god of death, which I call a death guide, and it follows her as she gets acclimated to her new job. Check them out if you can. Thanks for watching.